Kendra Wilson. This is a man's world. Well, was. Once upon a time, not long ago, a woman's job was the house and kids, and the man's was to get the dough. We had the toughest job, staying home with the family, yet until only a few years ago did people believe that we were capable of nothing more than cooking, cleaning, and raising babies. But now we have compelling women like Oprah Winfrey, strong, successful black mamas like Michelle Obama. Maya Angelou was an actress, author, civil rights activist, screenwriter, a poet, dancer. Was there anything she couldn't do? Meghan Markle gave all the little girls that sparkle of hope that dreams do come true. Serena Williams is worth millions, and Beyonce had us all singing, "Who runs the world, girls?" And of course we do. We all have one thing in common, and that's that we're all uncommon women determined to win, and together we're powerful.
Thank you for tuning in to Uncommon Women. I'm your host, Shanera.
And Jenny Lee.
And today we're on episode 24. We have guest speaker Kendra Saunders-Bey, formerly known as Kendra Wilson. She's going to be our second guest speaker in regards to women of excellence. So tell you a little bit about her. Kendra Wilson is a native of Coatesville, PA. She is a member of the First Apostle FBH Church. She actively participates as a youth leader and is involved in the prayer ministry as well as the choir. She was a district honors such as student ambassador and exchange student across Europe, and third world countries have allowed Kendra to embark upon many new experiences and challenges, which has enhanced our global perspective on social issues that have affected society. These experiences involve motivating Kendra to develop her gifts of service and have shaped her in the community. Kendra is proud product of Coatesville Area School District and has strong love for her community. In 2003, she started a Girls Only, which was established series of seminars, lectures, and conferences for early teens and budding young ladies, allowing them to know their worth and to be all that they can be in Christ. Kendra accepted the call into ministry in 2005 and received her license in 2006. God has continued to bless her and open doors. In 2013, Giving Guidance, which is G3, Mentoring and Family Advocacy, was formed. This program allows girls to receive love and positive reinforcements in a safe environment that aids and enriches the lives of the young ladies. So Kendra, please tell us a little bit about your life and how you were growing up.
As you just stated, I am a Coatesville native and resident. I grew up here. My father owned a business in Coatesville called Jim Lee's Candy Store. And as you stated, I grew up as a member of First Apostle Church, which was a fire-baptized Pentecostal church. And growing up, I sang, I went to church, we went to Sunday school, and back then it was church all day, just about every day. And I built a lot of great relationships within the church and within the community from my dad's store. So I understand that Coatesville really does have a very rich culture with family and community. And as I got older, I eventually started playing sports. I played basketball in middle school and high school, and you go off to college and you meet somebody, or you meet one of your friends may turn into a boyfriend, and that was my situation. And I ended up having a son out of wedlock. And so with my father being a prominent figure in the community and my mother working within the church and working within ministry, when I found myself pregnant, I didn't want to feel like I let them down, but internally I did. I felt like, that they would be looking at my parents like, oh, Kendra? Kendra? And so growing up, I went to church, and in many of those services and youth groups and different services, you were always preached at but never talked to. And one thing that they always impressed upon young people is the importance of abstinence or not having sex before marriage. And so, and I just want to say, I went to one of those churches to where, women had to wear dresses. We had to have on stockings. Don't forget your slip, And when I had my son, I realized, wow, what if somebody just would have had a conversation with me and not preached at me? And I didn't want anybody to grow up feeling what I felt internally, because it kind of took me into a dark space, because I felt like not only had I let my parents down, I thought that I let God down. And I didn't understand that my pregnancy at that time was actually pushing me to my purpose. And so I had my son, DJ. He's 19 years old now. And it was when he was 3 years old, I realized that I didn't want girls to grow up feeling like I felt. I didn't want them to feel like they were being preached at. I wanted them to feel like they could be talked to. And if they had questions, that they could ask without being judged or being told that they were fast. Or, I wanted them to know that, you can like somebody and you may even have a boyfriend, but there's a physical response that your body's going to feel at some point, and you need to know how to handle that. And you need to know how to make a responsible decision. And that's why For Girls Only started, because I wanted them to be able to ask questions that were outside of the parameters of the church wall, to feel safe and not judged, and to get an honest and answers to their questions. So that's how For Girls Only started. And from that, I began volunteering, hosting different seminars. My very first venture, I rented out the Coatesville Library, and we had a For Girls Only Summit, and we invited in a platform of speakers that consisted of 3 women and 3 men, and the girls were able to share their experiences without judgment. They were able to ask their questions, and it was in that moment that I knew that God was birthing something out of me to work with young ladies. And so that's how I started. And from there, Giving Girls Guidance started in 2013. I partnered with an organization called Boys, and it stands for Backing Our Young Sons, where we were going into the schools to mentor what they considered at the time at-risk youth. And then we also had children that we considered achievers, because not everybody's getting in trouble. Sometimes people get good grades, but they just need to have an ear, and they want to talk to somebody that looks like them and somebody that they know really has their best interests at heart, and they're not just showing up for a check. And so that's how Giving Girls Guidance started. We have an after-school program that we did, and we have a summer reading program that we run for the children. We just finished up a science academy, a STEAM academy, where we are introducing young ladies ages 5 through 11 to the field of science and technology, engineering, arts, and math. So we partnered with the church I'm attending now, Forward Impact Life Ministries, and we formed Fig 3. So we're just growing and really trying to be the change that we want to see.
That's good. So typically, how many girls do you have in G3, and what's a weekend activity that you guys may do?
Okay, so typically I try to have myself readily available to work with a number between 10 and 15 girls.
Okay.
But that is a number that they have direct access to me. So if they're feeling, I've had girls call me in the middle of the night to say, I don't feel like I want to be here anymore. I've had young ladies reach out to me because they lost a parent and have contemplated suicide because they feel like the solution to their grief is to kill themselves so they could be with their parent. So for that, I try to limit myself, because somebody's always going to need something, and I need to still be able to be a mom, and I need to still be able to be a wife. and I need to have that balance. So for that, I try to limit myself to, how can I say it? It varies by the need, but the programs that I have in the community, I try to cap off at 50 to 100, only because I want to make sure that each girl's able to get the attention that they need. And that's for like our lectures or our girl summits, where we have speakers to make sure that the girls, nobody feels overlooked in the crowd. So a typical weekend, let's see, I'm all about exposure. So I want girls to know that there are things that exist outside of our city limits here. So we've taken girls to museums, we've taken them to plays, we've taken them to art shows and art exhibits. Matter of fact, one of your artists, Shanina Deanna, she had her embryo exhibit. We took a few girls down there to see that had never seen an art show, and I thought that it was important that we support our own local artists, and they enjoyed themselves thoroughly. So we're about exposure. We have overnight retreats. We have sleepovers and girl share sessions where they're just able to go. They can get in the pool in the winter and do, just do fun things. So we're all about empowering, uplifting, building friendships, instilling leadership skills that they need, so that they can arrive at their purpose on time. That's my goal. I don't want them to feel like they have to have time that's delayed. I want them to know that God created them for a purpose, and I want them to get there on time. So.
That's great. So do you have other mentors that actually help you, or?
I do. I have my friend Octavia Warren Ward, who is an educator at the Coatesville Area School District. I just recently partnered with Pastor Katina and Eric Roberson of Forward Impact Life Ministries, and together we form Fig 3 there. And then we have other educators that come in and volunteer. So we have math specialists. We have Lakeisha Costello Wilson. She is an educator and a reading specialist. She's come in and she's done like mock interviews with our high school girls to let them know what their resume is supposed to look like, how to answer questions, the importance of how to dress. So we've done a myriad of things, and we have women who step up. Our community steps up to help us when they see the need. So it's awesome.
Kendra, and you were talking about the girls. By any chance, like, were the families involved somehow with the girls? And
I have parents that reach out to me to say, Kendra, I need to talk to you. My daughter is doing X, Y, and Z, or I've noticed these changes in her, and of course she doesn't want to talk to me, and I trust you. Can you reach out to my daughter? I've had aunts, I've had teachers, I've had principals reach out, and it's all with the parents' consent. But I do stress with the girls, especially within that teenage range, I keep everything confidential if they come to me. But if it's something that can affect their well-being or their welfare, I have to tell their parent as a mandated, reporter, because I'm a parent. And I don't want anyone to have information about my children that I don't know about, especially if it could change the trajectory of their life, So with a lot of prayer, and we've dealt with some tough situations head on with girls, but the parents are very, very receptive to it. And I think it comes from a place of them knowing that I really do have their child's best interest at heart, and I wouldn't treat their child any different than I would treat my own. So,
With that being said, do you have conflicts, because this is an all-girl group. Do you have conflicts in between girls not liking each other, but they got to be around each other, or girls that don't get along?
Absolutely. Oh, my goodness. So one of the things that we try to do is to break down those barriers, and that's the importance of us having our girl summits, because we know girls can be very cliquey, very catty. They'll come in with their group of 4 or 5, and they want to stay in that group of 4 or 5. So what we do, we're very intentional about breaking that group up because we want them to cross-pollinate and intermingle with somebody they necessarily wouldn't talk to. Have we had issues? Absolutely. We've had share sessions to where the girls made it about whoever they had to beef with, but they know that they can share, but they can't do anything.
Right.
You know, that is mutual territory, and our objective from that is to try to figure out a way to usher in peace. Okay. You know, you don't have to be best friends. We don't expect you to hold hands and sing Kumbaya, but you're not going to be in here disrespecting each other, because that's not what this is about. We're trying to build a sisterhood, and to leave knowing that, you know what, I don't have to text you, I don't have to call you, we don't have to be Facebook friends, we don't have to double tap on Instagram, but I'm going to respect you. Yeah. I'm going to respect you because you're a woman to be. I'm a young woman to be. We're going to respect each other. So that's what we definitely try to instill. But yeah, I'm laughing because I can think of a couple interesting scenarios, and yeah, man.
That's good. That's good. So, what is now? Is G3 typically just all black girls, or is it different type of girls that can join? Or
and we are for girls. Primarily, we do work with African American melanated girls because they're the ones that seem to be drawn to the program. But we've partnered with Child Guidance and other local agencies, so it's not all brown girls. You know, we've had Hispanic girls, we've had Caucasian girls, and
so it's open to everybody.
It's open to everybody. Oh, yeah, we don't discriminate at all. But it's very interesting to see that when they come in, because you can see people may feel like, am I going to be accepted in this circle? And once they break down into their groups and start their activities, we're sisters, we're friends. It's not, I'm black, you're white. You know, we're embracing each other just for being girls. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, with that being said, because you said you work with other foundations, organizations in the community, do you see this being like national or just being outside of Coatesville? Because it did start in Coatesville.
Do I see it being national? That's an interesting question. You don't want to limit yourself in your thinking, you know. No. But I know that I was planted in this area to help be the change that we want to see. We've traveled. I've had the liberty to go speak at, you know, different conferences for youth and things outside of Pennsylvania. And I appreciate that, but, you know, there's no place like home. I don't know. I can't say if it's going to be national. Whatever God says is what I'll do, but I want to impact the lives of those around me while I can and when I can. So if it takes me across the nations, I'll pack my bags and go.
So where do you see G3 5 years from now?
Oh, my Lord. Let's see. 5 years from now, I'll have another group of kids graduating from high school and college, and hopefully they'll be taking what has been instilled in them and sharing it. You know, I want this to be the jewel that the girls take through life with them. I would love to have a center where girls could come and it just be for us, you know. Yeah. And I know that sounds very sexist, but I mean it.
So we need sponsors for centers, okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much that I want girls. I look at it like if their life is a bucket, I want them to be able to have all the good in there so they can pull out what they need when they need it. Yeah. And so that's what I'm looking for. So I want the art center. I want an area where they can go to and have rec. I want the room that we can go into and just have large group rooms without having to rent facilities. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see where this path takes us, you know.
So do you have any stories or any testimonies of girls that actually graduated from the program? Or is there anything that you actually do for the girls when they do graduate from high school?
We have been fortunate enough to give out scholarship opportunities to some young ladies. We actually have a few that will be graduating from college this year that were amongst the first class of G3 girls. I'm proud to say that we will have a high school graduate this year, and I'm so excited because this young lady has head on, face first, faced a whole lot of adversity and obstacles, and even went as far to drop out of school. And she got it together. She went back to school, and she reached out to me, and she's like, I'm graduating. After everything I've been through, I'm graduating. And I'm just like, no credit to me, all glory to God, and for the people that have been around her to support her in this. I'm just, that moves me to be speechless because that's a victory. That's a victory, and those are the things you want. Everybody's not going to go to college, and I know that. Right. Everybody's not going to finish school, and we know that, but it's our hope that they go, and it's our hope that they finish. And so, yes, we've been able to give scholarship opportunities to some young ladies, and when they graduate, our seniors, we try to do something for them that's special for them, to recognize them, whether it's a dinner where the girls and the ones who started G3 with them are able to come and sit down and just share, and they have their trunk parties and things like that. We try to do those things together, but that's what we do. We just support each other and try to make sure that we're building lifelong relationships and friendships.
So with all the stories that you have for success, do you have anyone, any of the girls that have the guidance and been talked to about having sex? Do you have anyone that was in the program that actually got pregnant?
I don't.
So it's successful.
I don't. I never even thought about that. I don't have anyone that has had a child. That doesn't mean that they didn't start having sex, but they, have been responsible with what they have chosen to do.
Yes.
And it's no judgment, because I share with them all the time, although I was older when I had my son, the goal for your parents, when they look at you, they want you to go to finish school. They want you to get married and then have children. But, a lot of them didn't get here that way. And my son was walking the halls with them in school. So that's not everybody's story. But we haven't had any
That's awesome. That is amazing.
We haven't had any.
That's another victory.
And we haven't had any abortions. So I want to put that out there, too. Haven't had to have that conversation. So, yeah.
That's good.
Kendra, so what does this make you so passionate towards it?
The passion comes from really understanding that sometimes life will present you with opportunities to detour off the path that's been laid for you. And I feel so adamantly that young ladies need to know that they have a purpose as to why they're here on the earth. There's a verse that I use that I talk to the girls about, but I don't try to beat them over the head with it as scripture. And it's Proverbs 4:23, and it says, guard your heart, because out of it flows the issues of life. So if they can be good stewards of their heart, then they'll be good stewards of their emotions, and they'll know their worth, and they'll know what their purpose is. And once you know those things, you won't be distracted by the things that the enemy tries to throw at you. Whether it's boys, whether it's money, whether it's, it could be based off of what you see. You could grow up in an area that is poverty stricken, and you can limit your vision for yourself based off of what you see. And if all you see around you looks dead, I feel like that's my job, to come in and try to shine light and show you who you can be and who God created you to be. So that's my passion, because I know what that feels like. I shared earlier, like, I had a son out of wedlock. I remember feeling like I messed up. I remember feeling like, man, I'll never be what God wanted me to be around. You hear all these stories about statistics, and they beat you over the head with the commercials about, with the single moms and everything, and you just don't think past a lot of what you see. And I don't want young ladies to feel like that. I don't want them to feel like they don't have anyone that they can trust or talk to, or that can even understand without forgetting where they came from. I thank God that I'm married now, and I was fortunate to meet someone, cultivate an excellent friendship. I married my best friend. But shucks, if we be honest, I'm like 28 if you ask me off this, but in real life I'm in my 40s, and I was closer to 40 when I got married and had my youngest son, Kanan. And sometimes you can get to the place to where you feel like marriage is out of the cards for you, But it was God's timing. It wasn't mine.
Come on.
Yeah. It was God's timing. It wasn't mine. So it wasn't just a relationship. It was everything. But I got here all by feeling like I made a mistake. Not that DJ was a mistake, but I felt like the choice that I made was the end. I felt like that's all I was going to do was just be a single mom. And so much more has come out of that. So I've learned who I am and God's love for me through making that decision of being a single mom. So all things really do work together for the good. Even when you love them and don't act like you love them all the time.
So if you could give advice to girls that's listening, what was your transition? What helped you get through messing up but still having to move on in life because you have a calling, even though you don't see it at that moment?
Lord knows I didn't think that I would be somebody that would want to speak into people or, I've always wanted to help and volunteer and do those things, but I didn't think that, is it weird to say that my voice mattered? Like, that my voice could make a difference in a life to somebody? And so, where was my turning point? I say it all the time. My turning point was having my son. I understood God's love for me through having him. I understood the need to forgive because there would be times that he would have to forgive me as a mom and I would have to forgive him as a son. And that my purpose, your purpose is kind of what push you, what you're drawn to and kind of do naturally without effort. And I've always been the neighborhood mom. I've always been the person that, kids just gravitated to. So I didn't think I would be doing it on this level, but I've kind of always been doing it all along and didn't know that it was really making an impact until the girl started coming back and was like, you remember when you said, or you remember when we talked about? Well, I just need you to know, thank you, and I listen. And who am I that you want to listen to me? But your voice matters, and I had to learn that. I had to learn that my voice mattered, and so that's the passion. The advice is to not get stuck on what you see, because what you see, there's always something better coming. There's always something better coming, whether we see it or not.
So with your son being 19, and you said you're currently married, how did you know, started? I don't want to put your age out there, but
I'm 40. I can say it.
Okay, so how did you know he was the one, and you have a baby now? How does it feel having a 19-year-old?
Having a 19-year-old, well, I look at that as a blessing because, shucks, 19 years, he living, he breathing, he haven't lost weight, roof still over our head. I did something right. And we really grew together. I love DJ. Good boy, he's in college now. Thank the Lord for that. So having Kanan actually helped me let DJ go because I was ready to go to senior week. I was trying to get my body together to go to prom. I'm playing. But no, he's a great kid. My husband and I have been friends for well over 10 years. And hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but I was in the process of interviewing, aka dating, and I knew he was the one when I was trying to figure out if he and I didn't work out, how we would still be able to maintain our friendship. And I knew I was looking for ways to take him with me. I wasn't really looking at him in that capacity of being my husband because we come from two very different backgrounds. So I kind of limited my thinking in what could be. And from that, he had a conversation with my dad to let my dad know that he was looking at me a little differently than at the time I thought I was looking at him. But maybe I was looking at him and just didn't know, you know. And during our friendship, we did begin courting, and I still was kind of unsure as to what it was I wanted to do exactly. And you know, he's just a man's man. He's so manly. And he said to me, he said, you know what? You go ahead, do what you need to do, and I'll be here. And I walked away like, what you mean you're going to be here? You know, I thought that was going to be the deal breaker. And that, along with the fact that he really is my best friend. You know, he is my best friend. When great things happen to me, he's the first person I've always wanted to call. If something happened to my car, I was like, you know, I need to call him. Not because he was handy, but I loved him. You know, I felt safe with him. I trusted him with my son. And when my dad gave his seal of approval, I knew it was legit, because my dad was a people's person, but he didn't like everybody. You know, nobody's ever good enough for your daughter. And when he sat me down and we had the conversation, I was like, oh, wow. Oh, wow. But he, you know, as women, we grow up and we make our lists, right? We're like, he has to be yay high. His hair has to be like this. He got to drive this. He has to dress like this. He needs to be able to do this. He came into my life with so many things that was missing from my paper. That list that I made, he came into my life with so many things that I was like, oh, and this, oh, and that. I was like, he's so burly and he's just a dude. Like, I was like, I don't know, but I loved it. You know, I never thought that it was something that I would be drawn to, but once I saw it, I was like, oh my goodness. And I felt so safe with them, you know, and we can talk about anything. And he accepted me for who I was. He accepted my son. You know, I accepted his children. He has 2 children. So we have a beautiful blended family. And then God blessed us with Canaan. So I have a kid in college and a kid in the crib, and I'm my own reality series right now. Yeah, but I knew he was the one when I was trying to figure out how I could take him with me through the rest of my life.
That's beautiful.
That's awesome. That's great.
So, wrapping up in regards to G3. By the way, what does G3 stand for?
G3 stands for Giving Girls Guidance. We are a mentoring and family advocacy group for young girls.
Okay. So where can we find you? Do you have anything on social medias that people can check out? Things that you may have done in the past with the girls, or currently things that you're doing now?
We are Giving Girls Guidance on Facebook, and on Instagram we're givinggirlsguidance.g3. And if you put in the hashtag girl power or hashtag G3, I'm sure some of our flyers and images would show up from things that we've done in the community and just some of our girls' days.
That's awesome. So one last question before we close up. Okay. What makes you uncommon?
Great question. What makes me uncommon? I think it's my passion for people. It doesn't just stop at girls, but I am extremely passionate about empowering young girls to become the best women that they can be. And I just attribute that to my love of God. God loves people. My father volunteered a lot in the community. My mother volunteered a lot in the community. So it's kind of the things that was instilled in me. And I guess it's my passion and my drive to do it because I like to see people grow and thrive and be green. That's all. I just want to see every woman win, you know. That's what it is.
Thanks, Kendra,
Thank you.
for being with us and, talking about your G3 and, just being with us here today. And thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you ladies for having me, and I can't wait to hear all of the women that you're going to have for this month of women empowerment and women leaders, and I'm excited about your girls' future.
Thank you for tuning in. You can look us up on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And also you can email us at uncommonwomenpodcast@gmail.com. And if you have any topics, you can email us on there, and stay uncommon.